This Privy Council learned today and yesterday that this case would never be fairly tried in Jamaica. And so much went wrong in the case already that the best thing to do is to overturn the judgment. All right, we are at the end. It has come and it has passed. Why if it have come there? It's forward and it gone, right? We're talking about the Vybz Kartel appeal at the Privy Council. Big up to Sean Storm and the rest of the man them. I feel like you guys are coming home for sure. But let's get into all the details though. So I have compiled 2 paper full. Y'all know how I do already. Listen, over here we don't deal with nothing but facts, okay? So forget your personal feelings and you feel like the boy them is guilty so them should have ended for life. No, we're talking about the justice system and how it works and what is presented in a court of law, what rules, laws, regulations were violated, what took place, etc., etc. That's what we are dealing with. All right. Now, this is day 2, a summation of day 2. This is going to be a long breakdown, but pay attention because for those of you who want to know, okay, now that they are done hearing everything from both sides, what happens next? What happens next, according to the Privy Council, is it can take them up to about 2 to 3 months before they make a final decision. And their final decision will be the say-so of do they get a new trial or do they vacate the sentence and the man them go free, or whatever the case may be, do they reduce their sentence to a significantly lower number and still have them serve off a couple more years before they are out, which I highly doubt is going to happen. So we're going to talk about all that right now. Now, going right into it. The Privy Judge, he heard a specific allegation that was detrimental to the case, and all he did was repeat what he said to the juror at the start of the trial. This is the Privy Judge, the Privy Council judge, talking about the judge that overheard or was told about the juror that was going around soliciting other jurors to pay them to come up with a verdict. He wanted to know, from the Privy Council wanted to know, okay, so what did the judge do? What was his course of action? And they brought it up. And the judge said, he heard a specific allegation that was detrimental to the case, and all he did was repeat what he said to the juror at the start of the trial. Like there was so many other things, course of action that he could have taken, but he didn't. All right? All right. He mentioned that the House, and okay, so now you have Vybz Kartel's, not Vybz Kartel, but the guy who represents the DPP, Paula Llewellyn them, the prosecution. He mentioned of the House, and I speak specifically of these points because I have covered these for years. Go look them up. He mentioned of the House, and he said the House was burnt, but he never mentioned that the House was bulldozed by the state. You understand? Why did he not report that the House was burnt? He's asking the Privy Council, why did Vybz Kartel not report that the House was burnt? Well, and he said this is suspicious, which leads to, you know, it looked like guilt. Well, we're not talking about what anything looks like, sir. We're talking about what amounts to guilt, right? My house burning, piece of my house burn off. I have multiple properties. And me not have to stay at that one place there. When me I report it to UNOFA, so my house catch on fire. That's not how it goes in Jamaica. You don't report every little fire when your house catch on fire to the authorities in Jamaica. The house got burnt, right? But what I wanted him to touch on is why the hell did they bulldoze the property, broke it down to rubbles and got rid of it before they were able to get an independent forensic team to fly into the country. Let me explain about the House one more time. So, if there was something inside of that house that could have proved the DPP's point, they would have never bulldozed the house. That's all I'm going to say about the house. There was nothing in that house that would prove that their theory of what happened in that house actually happened in the house. All right, move along. He's reading, and he says, "A chop will chop up the boy, lizard, fine, fine, and dash him away." And then he says, "This is admittance. It gets no clearer than this." Okay, let's put some context to this, because a lot of people over the years weren't paying attention. Check it. That voice note, eventually, a digital forensic expert was flown into Jamaica because they couldn't trust nobody in Jamaica to do it, right? Or because Jamaica didn't have an individual of that capacity. But I'm guessing they couldn't trust. So they bought an independent forensic specialist flown into the country who has no dog in this fight to look over and put his credibility, his license, his professional resume on the line. That digital forensic expert, when he was done analyzing the voice note and everything else, he came away with, he said, quote unquote, not only was it tampered with, it was heavily tampered with. Yeah, enough cut and splice go on, and things were moved around, and certain things were put in text that weren't there and didn't have anything in relation to do with another. So it wasn't a credible piece of evidence. And I know that's all Jamaica DPP was leaning on. And it turns out, in the Privy Council hearing, that's all they had to lean on. Because if you look on the guy that was representing the DPP, he literally looked like they had to go for the knee-jerk reaction. Anybody who hear this, I'm going to say, Jesus Christ, guilty no matter what. But when you put it into context with a digital forensic expert and metadata, that information cannot be ignored. Now here's the thing, a lot of people are saying, so Flo, how come I never hear them talk about the digital forensic expert that flew into Jamaica and his findings and so on and so forth? Well, my friend, Vybz Kartel's lawyer, Isaac Buchanan, was running like, you never watch Roots, the movie with Kunta Kinte? Vybz Kartel's attorney, Isaac Buchanan, was running like how Kunta Kinte was running for freedom. I mean, he was running trying to get that piece of information submitted, added to the case. That was the piece of information that the Privy Council rejected, and they didn't reject it because they didn't think it was good. They rejected it because the window to submit had closed. But this is the kind of game that they played in Jamaica, especially on the DPP side, right? The prosecution side. They made sure they string this along so much and string it along so much that by the time the forensic expert flew into Jamaica and got a finding and gave it to them, it was too late to submit it to it's a tactic that they used. Sabotaged it purposely, if you will. So it was too late to submit it to the Privy Council. Now, improperly gathered evidence, fabricated evidence, broken chain of custody with the voice note, the phone which contained the voice notes, tainted jury pool which brought about what they call a impure verdict. These are the things you're going to have to look at. The text messages were heavily tampered with, said the jury, said the digital expert. And this is when we have to go back and visit the police taking the phone from the evidence room. Some people who are dunce said there's nothing wrong with the police. I take the phone from the evidence room because it never changed nothing. You must be slow. So if you steal something, right, and you bring it back, and the person you stole it from said, my bag had $200 in it, but the money is gone, but then bring back the bag. Do you believe the person whose bag it was, or you believe the person who steal the bag? You're going to believe the thief that said, no, me steal the bag, but me did carry it back, but me never see any money in it when me did steal it. No, you're going to believe, more likely to believe the person who actually owned the bag, not the thief who stole the bag, right? Right. So in this particular case, it's kind of like going down that road, man. Seriously, Jamaica judicial system got exposed, and they got exposed big, and it didn't look good. It kind of looked embarrassing, to say the least, right? Now, they were there arguing for a minute about Supplemental Jury Act, which is an actual thing, Supplementary Jury Act. and one of them